Welcome to the Lunar Portal podcast with Morgan
and Ina. We are the faces and voices behind the Lunar Portal, Moon Guide and Calendar, a project fueled by our shared passion for aligning with natural rhythms and holding spaces for playful curiosity and empowered living.
You are now entering a cosmic space in which we aim to have an intergalactic conversation with each other and with you.
We hope these conversations offer us all an opportunity to continuously discover the landscape of our own unique inner universe while allowing the energies of the moon to inform our personal and collective essence and experience with every passing phase.
We are thrilled and excited to have you along for this conversational journey. Unscripted and off the cuff, we never really know what might emerge or come to light as we share ideas, insights, and our own experiences with cyclical living, continuously attuning ourselves more deeply to the moon and our own womb as she passes through all the cosmic energies present in the galactic universe around and within us.
With curiosity and a passion for self-inquiry, combined with our desire to be witness to the collective shifts of our times, all we really know is that we will be traversing many realms, from the shadowy subconscious underworld to the imaginative possibilities of what a new existence on Earth might look like, all while exploring this question of how does the moon in all her many phases and faces inform and guide our life experience.
Petals of the sea. A flower on the ocean. She feels alien and unique. Will I make it to the shore? He asks the waves. They come and go, listening to the moon. The flower, she shuts her eyes. She can feel the beat of the waves, and through it, the voice of the moon. She can't follow the story, though. She doesn't know what brought her here. Why are there no others like me? She shouts to the sky. The waves carry the beat. She tumbles on it. For a while, she fights the waves. She tries to stop the beat, the one that tells her all she cannot understand. She flirts with the bigger ones. They might take her down. A rest from the heartbeat. She questions and herself. Sobbing, she adds to her weight. A stone she prepares to sink. With tears, she tells her story beat by beat. The waves take up the rhythm, so the flower starts talking to the moon. Back and forth, they tell their story and listen to the melody of the flower on the ocean, the moon on the waves. Dancing on the petals of the sea, the flower opens her eyes. Unique, she rides the waves, just not alone.
Thank you.
Thanks for allowing me to read your story. I've already read it a few times. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's always like so different to read something out loud.
Yes.
Especially when someone else is listening, I feel like, because sometimes will read stuff out loud to myself, but it doesn't have the same impact as
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially, well, we said that last time as well, but hearing your own work, like spoken by someone else, is really powerful and different every time.
I was, when I saw that you had added that to the Aquarius Lunar Portal, and when I first read it, I was slightly amazed, although I'm, quite getting used to the like synchronicities of life. They don't talk to me so much, but it was interesting because there was a piece of art that I have been working on this winter and just completed and called it Full Moon Bloom. The name of it was like,
Oh, yes.
I was like unsure of what it was going to be until the very end when that just kept on like coming into my head. And then I read your story and I was like, well, of course, it's, the story is connected to this piece of art and it's about, yeah, the flowers and the moon and it all just weaves in together.
Yeah, I saw that when you shared that in your stories. It looks absolutely stunning the way you incorporated like your own craftsmanship and then the natural elements. It was just, I know, I kept going back and just looking for the details, and the whole thing felt so, yeah, like a story in itself. But then every little detail you could find more and more and more in it. The further you went into it was fascinating. It was really beautiful.
Oh, thanks for that reflection. Yeah, it's neat too because I had incorporated the scallop shells into the creation of the moon and, adding that like ocean element to the
Yeah.
moon. And it's also interconnected. And that leads me to bring up
Transition.
our topic of this lunar portal, which is unity and collaboration. And I find it fascinating how we can be in collaboration with someone without even realizing it, or in collaboration with an aspect of the world without even realizing it, until all of a sudden we're like, oh, cool. We were collaborating on this thing.
I feel that's one of the most beautiful and surprisingly easeful things about our collaboration as well. Like through all these months now, as of course we talk about the lunar portal, but I feel more and more it just comes together, and it every time it's just so, as you said as well, it's like stunning. It makes sense, and the pieces fit together, and it's just, yeah, it looks planned in the way. Of course, the main structure is planned. Like we're not just making it up every time, but still, like the content, it's very individual and unique to us, but it always makes sense together, and I love that. It's just such a reminder, as you said, that that's actually how it can work, and it can be effortless, and it doesn't need to be all mapped out, and we don't need to know every step of the way. We are in collaboration all the time. It's just so beautiful.
Hmm. Especially when we allow ourselves to get out of our own way and drop any plans that we might like be trying to make or
Oh
trying to
God.
like fit into the idea of what we're creating. And I think that's a key element too that I've been exploring through my years of collaborating is just that, yeah, aspect of getting out of my own way over and over and over again and just like letting things unfold and evolve as they're meant to. And that's when like the most beautiful magic occurs because there's no like forceful will that I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, I still do that for sure. But the moments when I can witness it and surrender and let go into it, yeah, those are the really magical moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been listening to the playlist a lot over the last week.
Mm.
A week into the moon cycle now. And yeah, it's just been like a really lovely companion to put the playlist on. I actually listened to it on repeat the day leading, like the day of our cauldron gathering, the soul nurturing magic gathering. I probably listened to it about 3 or 4 times in the morning and the afternoon leading
Oh,
up.
wow.
Like it was just this like, I don't know, it was infusing my day with the energy that you had put into the playlist that felt like so aligned with the time of Aquarius in its like imaginative and flowy and innovative ways, but then also yeah, just like there's such a softness to it that I really appreciated. And it's a great playlist. I'm just saying it's a great playlist.
It must have been funny because I incorporated some of the songs in the playlist then for the gathering because they felt I wanted to bring an element of Aquarius in, and I thought like, Oh, yeah. So I used that actually as the foundation and then added other elements to bring, yeah, more earthy feel to it because of Imbolc. And so, yeah, wow. So it was really weaving all around. Oh.
And I had specifically not listened to your playlist for the in bulk gathering because you had sent it to me ahead of time so that I could share it. But I've been like, no, don't look at it, don't listen to it. I want it to be a surprise. And it was really cool actually to have that experience of like having had those some of those songs like infused into me throughout the day and then have
Hmm.
again in that aspect of like movement and dancing and using it for medicine in that way. So yeah, and I had been curious too if you had done that because I was like, always I'm always about and getting more and more into this like we don't have to start from scratch every time, like
Yeah.
doing something new. And so I was really glad to see that you had, yeah, taken that opportunity to like use what you had already created and build on it. And yeah.
Yeah, creating the playlist is just such an intuitive, momentary thing, I feel. So it already reflects the mood of a certain phase. And so that was still accurate. And yeah, so it felt like the right thing to do. And yes, as you said, it's always good to not have to start like with every project at zero. But yeah, and I feel that's part of weaving that collaboration, even with myself, to not feel like I have to do that because I feel there is like a trained in pressure, like you always need to begin fresh and it needs to be absolutely, I don't know, never been there before kind of energy. And so I feel that so many pathways of creativity get just cut off. But if I actually allow them to flow into each other, then yeah, there's actually a real flow that exists in my life. And then actually, because things I really love, like listening to things on repeat or reading stories over and over again. Or, for example, one piece that really impacted me this time in our Aquarius lunar portal was yours on invention and innovation and how that's actually also a collaboration within ourselves. And it's not just a mind thing, you can't really plan it. It has so many different intuitive elements. And I really come back to it over and over again. And I feel that's the beauty of allowing ourselves to have something we can come back to because I feel so often it's like, oh, the next thing and the next, it needs to be fresh, it needs to be new. But actually coming back to the same thing for a while, it's really a meeting place with myself because I can notice how I am different because the text or the song or whatever stays the same. It becomes like this mirror where I can actually see myself and then also, yeah, put myself in relationship to yeah, the piece of art, the writing, the person who created it in a way, and also a bigger context. I feel all of that starts moving once I actually allow the interaction to be with the same thing over and over again. So yeah, I really love that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there is something really powerful about coming back to the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I'm always curious about kids because they love to hear the same story over and over again, and parents get really bored by having to read the same story over and over again. Then wondering if that's part of their steep learning curve to actually see themselves fresh every time because the backdrop is the same, like the story is the same, so they can actually just see themselves reflected in the moment and yeah, really learn different aspects about themselves.
Yeah, I can see that too. That yeah, that they're like they're growing so rapidly, right? When they're
Mm.
little like that. And I had never thought about that before, how they would be interpreting or perhaps interpreting the story differently every time based on
Mm.
their growth and how we get to do that too as adults, but
Yes.
still in our childlike nature. Which is something I think that the energy of Aquarius is really good at too, is just being in that like playful, um, the word I know I used in some of the writing was like quirkiness. And it's like Aquarius energy just feels quirky and playful and like there's a plethora of possibilities of where each moment could go. And yeah, I've really been feeling that in the creation process of the lunar portal this time, and then also a lot in the last week. There's been so much movement and so much change that has occurred with all of the things that I have had planned. It's like times and dates and like so many things have just shifted. And it's been nice to be able to come back to that energy of Aquarius and just be like, it's all good. It's gonna like keep on shifting, and it's just part of the playful dance of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very bubbly energy. Like definitely feel that, especially coming out of this foundational stillness. I can really feel now it's just everything is bubbling. And yeah, as we said at the gathering as well, the soul nurturing sanctuary, that we just, the seeds are stirring. And I feel it's often it's a beautiful thing, but it can also be really frustrating, I feel, because I can just feel it all bubbling, but I also know it's not quite time yet. So I feel it's a real dance to stay centered in a way, to allow that playfulness and to allow it to just bubble up, because it doesn't need to be all frozen and still anymore, but also to not just jump ahead of myself and just get going at a speed where I then fall flat on my face. I feel it's a real balancing act. I'm really feeling that at the moment, to really still draw from the stillness and bring myself back to that, but also allowing it to start to bubble up. It's really like, yeah, the kind of the spring feeling before spring has actually arrived. It's just this woo.
Yeah, it's exciting. And it is a very contrasting energy from what we were just in with the Capricorn energy. And it's interesting because I feel there's a big part of me that wants to like kind of rewind and not rewind, but just like, oh, I want to like slip back into that Capricorn energy of like stillness. And I'm like, when is that going to happen? And I know that I can make it happen whenever I truly
Yeah.
want to, but then also like in keep finding myself in this like you said, the bubbling up energy of like Aquarius and what's to come in the spring as we keep moving forward. Exciting times.
Is there one particular thing that you can feel like bubbling under the surface that you're really excited about, or that you feel like you really want to explore, or maybe that doesn't even have a form yet, but something you already sense that it's coming up? Really putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many things.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong problem.
Um, yeah, I do just really feel a sense right now that there are so many things bubbling up, and some of them are like new things, and then some of them are revisited and like reimagined things. I've been feeling a lot of excitement in the last couple days about our upcoming poetry circle, and that just feels like it's going to be something that we hadn't necessarily planned. It's been interesting. I'm like, is this the place to talk about this? I don't know. But here I am talking about it. So I sent the invitation to the poetry circle out to quite a few people, and many people expressed that they couldn't make it this time, but they would be in it they wanted to be there for the next time. And I was kind of like, okay. I like the collective imagining that this poetry circle is going to be an ongoing offering, because there was nothing in the invitation or the promo material that indicated that. And so I am just like fascinated that multiple people expressed the interest to come to the next one. And I was like, okay. And this is where I feel like we come to this place where we are in collaboration with like the universe and in collaboration with all these other people who perhaps appreciate or are drawn to these types of offerings. And um, it's like, yeah, just kind of have to look at it and be like, okay, well, of course we don't need to make it like an ongoing thing if we don't want to, but it definitely feels like there is a collective energy that is saying, this is going to be an ongoing offering. And so that's one thing that I'm like, very fascinating.
Yeah, I love that. It's so yeah, it's so beautiful that I keep bringing dance in, but it really feels like a dance. Like you put something out there, and of course you're curious what the response is going to be. Like, is there going to be an echo? What is it going to bring back? Like, and yeah, and that I feel that's not talked about enough, like how much that also shapes the offering in itself and transforms that and maybe lets it even grow in ways that we didn't expect. Like, yeah, we wanted to do a poetry circle, but as you said, like we were not looking at the next one right now. So, and now that opened our perspective, I feel that you just shared that. It feels like, oh, okay, so maybe there's a next one. So the whole quality of the gathering or the circle has changed for me now. It just feels like, oh, okay, there's an opening at the end as well, which has always been there, but it feels more real now. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I think it feels more real is because of that response from people, right? And so,
Yeah.
oh, like cool and yeah, fascinating is that again, we're in collaboration with people when we don't even know it.
Yeah, and that's also like I keep bringing that up every time we talk. It's this what I also so love about coming together in our online lunar portal gatherings, because it's if people who travel with us share how they use it or what comes up for them, what they put in the center of the portal timer calendar, and then yeah, every time it changes the energy and the quality of our lunar portal for me and where I'm going with the next one, because there is input of what worked or what felt good or what nourished people in a way that I might have not thought about, or is even like, yeah, I don't know, exceeding my wildest hopes. It's just so yeah, and so I feel everything is a co-creation. I mean, in a way, it's already a trope, but I feel that's so true, and I feel moments like that are so powerful in showing that, because I feel this idea of somebody is there, like a creator creating something, and then somebody receives it, and that's it, is still so strong, and it never is like that. Like everybody who receives something also creates it in a way by receiving it, and like creating something, you're never separate from somebody receiving it. So it's just this beautiful full circle moment. And I feel that's what I really, really enjoy, apart from the very deep, beautiful conversations we have in the online gatherings. I really, really, yeah, also love that to see that it's all one in the end and we are all creating it.
Hmm. For me, that way of looking at it and experiencing it really takes the pressure off too. It's like,
Yes, that's true.
um,
Very real.
which is great because I feel like in this day and age, we need as much release of pressure that we
Yes.
put on ourselves as possible. And yeah, what a gift to be able to have that experience from people just sharing, how
Yeah.
they're using something or how they're experiencing something, and for that to result in just this like, oh, okay, I can release the my own expectations around, what I'm meant to be creating next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the energy of innovation that I'm really like curious and excited about, not just in this moment of Aquarius that we're in, but like ongoing into the world that we're creating together. And it's like there are some amazing things that can come can be invented or innovated, that will only really happen when we allow ourselves to work together and to like embrace the differences that we have with one another and take the time to really like lean into highlighting what it is that each person's gift and contribution and um, their own imprint of energy that they're going to put into something that feels so key to me in building like a new vision of a world that might be a little bit more enjoyable to live in as we go forward.
Yeah, I feel that's so beautiful in experiences like that, where we see that, yeah, what resonance does and how we actually co-create everything, that we do that all the time. And so it makes me feel less helpless in whatever is going on, because I am already co-creating all of this. So I might, so it's for me, it's a lot about discernment and focus at the in a lot of ways. So where do I focus? Where do I put my energy? And I feel then, yeah, even if you align with the most like-minded people, there are going to be differences, and then to honor that that's actually a beautiful thing, and that makes this innovation actually possible, because there are all these different voices that come in to make it possible. But yeah, to be very clear on the focus and not get distracted, because I feel the noise is just enormous at the moment. So yeah, to keep that alive, that we can actually create something that we want to see, is really beautiful, and that we already do it.
Yeah. Do you have a specific practice or something that you come back to when the noise of what is trying to distract from our vision creating gets too loud?
Yeah, I write. I have this journaling practice where I actually talk to myself. Maybe all journaling is like that, but I like, yeah, I envision a future version of myself, and so I start stepping into dialogue with her, and then yeah, that always really grounds me, because she really comes from a perspective of so much gratitude and yeah, appreciation, and also with a wider vision, like everything, whatever feels really intense in the moment for me, through that imagined gap in time, it just really dissipates. And so it's this, yeah, of course, she is me as well. So it's just, but so it helps me tap into that part of me that is actually able to see that bigger vision and to remember. And so yeah, that I would say that's mine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like again being in collaboration with yourself, right?
Yes, that's
And
true.
unifying different aspects of yourself too.
That sounds not like I have planned that to fit. But yeah, no, that's true. I hadn't seen that.
We know we don't plan these things, so
That's true. Oh yeah. That's yes, 100% true. Do you have something that supports you?
when things get too loud and the distracting factor, um, I don't know if I have a specific thing. What pops into my head right now is just like going outside and being amongst trees. That
Mm,
always just like
true.
helps me just be like, oh yeah, this is what matters. And that's what matters to me anyway, is just being amongst nature. So I think that's probably what helps
Yeah.
me just come back to like bring my focus inward, but also I find that connecting with nature and especially a gathering of trees, a forest, um, it not only draws me inward and kind of stills me and brings me deeper into presence, it also at the same time reminds me how interconnected everything is and like
Yeah.
how big everything still is. Because I feel like trees just have that energy of showing us the simpleness of like breathing in and breathing out, and but being rooted somewhere. Um, yeah, so that's my probably my instinctual go-to is to just like open my door and step out and be amongst the trees.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel also it's so fascinating how they as well, they are all in collaboration. I mean, a forest is a huge collaboration anyways, but yeah, the trees and how they communicate and how that's, oh, it's just, yeah. Oh, I can feel that. That's beautiful. You just transported me.
And then I feel like once I've reached a new state of being, I'm like, okay, what am I going to create now?
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And if anybody is hearing, if anyone listening to this right now is hearing some strange noises in the background, it's just me painting the next series of galaxy paintings for the lunar portal.
Yay!
Uh,
Yeah, the next one is Pisces.
yeah, and Pisces is an energy that is interesting because it feels, I feel like I've said this before too about certain energies in these lunar portals. Like it feels kind of unfamiliar to me, but it's very interesting because it's the opposite sign of Virgo, which is what my sun sign is. And it's kind of an astrological sign that I've paid so little attention to throughout my life. And I'm excited to be now working with it for this next lunar portal just to see what comes through because I have a very little preconceived notion of like what that energy is about. Um, but I also feel like it's a integral piece of who I am in an essence because it is the like the sister sign or the opposite sign. Um, so it's almost like Pisces and Virgo are like looking at each other across a big room. Like, I don't really recognize what's going on over there. So maybe there'll be a little bit more recognition by the time we have completed this next lunar portal. We'll see. What
Yeah,
about
that really resonates with me. Like I personally, I also, yeah, have no real felt sense for Pisces as an energy, but I live with two Pisces, Pisces suns, so I have a very clear vision of it in other people and how it shows up. But just if I check in with myself, I don't. So I'm really curious to see what that also changes for me, like really finding it within me and what that reveals about those around me. So,
yeah?
yeah. Yeah, Aquarius felt like home in a weird way. Although I'm not as, well, my moon is Aquarius, so maybe that's why. It felt really, yeah, I know you, like that feeling, although I couldn't have pinpointed it. But Pisces feels very different. Yeah, exciting. I can't wait to see your painting.
It's very watery so far, so that feels which I guess all watercolor paintings are going to be watery, extra watery. I felt the same too with the Aquarius energy, felt very like familiar and
Yeah.
at home within it. And I think that could also potentially relate to having two like sisters, siblings who are Aquarius, and then also throughout my life, just always having other Aquariuses like come into my sphere too. There's been a lot of Aquarius, and actually something I was reflecting on recently in thinking of through this theme of collaboration was that almost every single person that I have collaborated with or been in, maybe some of it is like a family collaboration, like with my sisters, or a work collaboration, have all been air signs. They've all, not all, but like I would say probably 80 to 90% have been either Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. And I was like, oh, how fascinating is that to like draw so much like air energy into my life and all the things that I've yeah done so far in life. So just a just a reflection, and I think maybe I'm sharing that because I'm curious too if other people have similar experiences of that, of like continuously drawing in certain signs. For me, I thought it was just Libras. I was like, I always have all these Libras around me. But then I was like, no, I also have a lot of Aquariuses too. And then I was like, oh, and there's been a lot of Geminis too in my life. And I was like, oh, they're all air signs. Fascinating. Have you had that experience at all?
I really, it's quite fresh for me to actually pay attention to the signs, so I would not be able to say.
Maybe you're going to start paying attention now.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh. Is there any last words that you want to share into the podcast space? No pressure, of course.
I feel what I want to say to myself, and maybe somebody else needs to hear that too, is just, yeah, stay grounded, stay inspired, but have fun with it. I feel it's just, especially coming out of these reflective times, at least that's how the last couple of months have felt for me, then there is quite a heaviness and seriousness about everything. So, yeah, to keep grounded in what I know, but also have fun and allow myself to bubble up a little bit with Aquarius. Yeah, I feel that's my parting words.
Sounds like some great self-advice and advice for anyone that might want to hear it. Yeah, it's been super fun and playful, and felt very grounded chatting with you about the Aquarius lunar portal.
Same here.
Thank you for listening to the Lunar Portal podcast.
It has been an absolute pleasure to be accompanied by you in this conversation through this lunar portal as we journeyed together through this time and space. We hope the lunar portal offered you spaces of nourishment and inspiration through the changing tides of your life.
If this sparked your curiosity, have a look at the Lunar Portal Moon Calendar and Guidebook, a gently guided resource kit that includes a moon calendar, a galaxy painting, a meditation, a playlist to move to, writing prompts, a ritual, and lots of information, inspiration and wisdom around this new moon. We would love to accompany you and hold you on your journey to embrace your own pace, connect to your intuition, make space for your well-being, and establish a deep trust in what you know with small acts of awareness each day. You can find all the information you need in the links below, and feel free to connect to either of us with any questions or curiosities you might have around the Lunar Portal Inner Galactic Moon Guide. For now, we want to say
thank you for your courage, curiosity, and trust. We feel honored and blessed that you chose to venture into this conversation of this lunar cycle on a journey of discovering our own and your inner landscape.
we hope to see your return so we can journey together with the next coming moon.